We ready to go?
Yep, we are good to go.
Okay, terrific. Go back one slide for me there, Brian, and just as we can kick things off again. For those of you, I know many of you have been on for all of our webinars. We've been doing this now for a couple of years, and it's been a long, ongoing series of the latest, greatest, and everything you need to know in winning listings and converting buyers with social media. And so we've seen the evolution of this series carry us through from the early days of Facebook and utilizing that to win listings and convert buyers, and now today at the forefront of technology and marketing for real estate with Google+. I'm Burke Smith. I'm the Chief Communications Officer at HSA Home Warranty, your very proud home warranty partner. This is part of our added value that we provide all of our clients and prospective clients, and it's a tremendous service that us at HSA Home Warranty are proud to bring to you, where we can take content that normally is reserved for big national conventions or conferences that are difficult to get to or afford. We know you're all very busy out there, and we're happy to be able to bring this content directly to you and your desktop, your laptop, your smartphone, wherever you're enjoying today's webinar. As I mentioned on every call when we start off, that I truly believe that technology will never replace agents, but agents using technology will. And I know many of you would agree with that. I can't hear you agreeing with that because all of you are muted for today's call. As I said, we have hundreds of agents from around the country tuned in today. So all of you are muted. If you have a question or comment, you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen there is a toolbar there where you can post a question or comment. Brian and I will try to address that question or comment during the call. However, we have a lot of information packed into a short amount of time here. So if we don't get to your question or comment during the call, we'll try to get to it at the end. And if we still are not able to get to it because of time constraints, then we'll be sure to email out to you and answer a response to your question or comment. Also, to let you know, all of you will get a copy of today's presentation. So I know that you'll take some notes, some of the things you'll wish that we went over, or you may have questions you think of afterwards. You will be getting a copy of this whole presentation. So as you heard us when we got started, we are recording today's call, so you'll be getting a copy of all of the slides as well as the audio version. Also, as I alluded to, this is just the latest in a series of webinars that Brian and I have conducted as added value for the agent community. And if you'd like access to the previous webinars that we've done, please reach out to your local HSA rep and find out how do I get those, because it's an incredible amount of content that is geared specifically towards winning listings and converting buyers. For those of you in today's webinar, if they're having any audio issues, you'll see there's an 800 number up there that you can contact. You can also tweet us at HSA Home Warranty. Be sure to use the hashtag HSA Webinar. We'll also have our contact info at the end of today's call. And again, if something comes up, issues during the call or questions or comments, go ahead and type them into the question or chat function there on the right-hand side of your screen. You want to make sure that your computer isn't muted. For those of you who are having trouble during the call or not hearing any sound, although you wouldn't be hearing me warning you of that right now if you were muted. But you'll see here up on your screen there's a function bar on the right-hand side there that you can also adjust during the call. Okay? And as I said, this one, like all the others, are recorded. Find out who your HSA representative is. If you don't know, you go to onlinehsa.com and you can find out who your local HSA representative in your market is. You can find out not only about our online webinars and tutorials that we do, but also find out the next time that we're going to be live and in person. Brian and I are great on webinars, but we're really incredible in person. So when you find out, when your HSA rep lets you know when we're doing a live event in your area, make sure that you're there. And if you don't know when the next one's coming up, again, your HSA home warranty rep can give you that schedule as well. You'll see here, you'll find our tutorials at youtube.com/HSA warranty, and we'll give you some other resources at the end of today's call as well. For those of you who have not been on one of our webinars before or who don't know me, in addition to being the Chief Communications Officer at HSA Home Warranty, I'm also a licensed, active real estate broker in Southern California. And so I built my real estate company on the same premises and tools and concepts that we're going to talk about on today's call and that we've talked about on previous webinars and seminars. I've sold an awful lot of real estate. You know, I'm personally responsible for well over 1,000 closed transactions. I used to try to impress everybody by saying that I was responsible for over $500 million in closed residential real estate. But then when everybody found out that I live in San Diego, they said, well, that's no big deal. It's like 50 houses. Well, actually, we sold across all ends of the spectrum using the same tools that we're going to talk about today, tools that are available to everybody. And that's the big thing here, folks, is not just that you've taken the time out of your busy schedules to attend today's webinar. Okay, that alone puts you far ahead of the majority of real estate professionals in this country because you're taking the time to invest in yourselves, not financially, but educationally. Okay, that's what I noticed about top producers. If there were top producers 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and still today, it's because they're doing what you're doing today. They're investing in themselves, finding out how to stay ahead of the curve and meet the needs of today's consumer, because that's what it's about. Okay, we're not doing this because it's cool. We're not doing this because Brian and I think it's a good idea. We're doing this because it has a tangible benefit in winning listings and converting buyers, because this is what the consumer is demanding. When I started my real estate company, the National Association of Realtors was saying that 10 to 15% of our clients were starting their search on the internet. So I said, let's go after that 10 to 15%, right? And that number became 30 and 50, and now National Association of Realtors will tell you it's over 90%. Okay, so if 90% of people were showing up at our open houses, this would be a very different presentation. So today we're going to talk specifically about Google+, but before we get into the details of that, we want to make sure that you also have a basic foundation of how to utilize these tools so that once you're on there, you get something out of it. Okay? Now, as I told you, I'm responsible for selling an awful lot of real estate, and not one of those leads for any of those transactions came from Zillow or Trulia. And this is not a call or a debate about whether those are good, bad, or indifferent, or what to do with your money. Okay, where you decide to market is up to you. But first, you must identify what are people going to find when they get to me. How am I going to convert them? So our calls focus a lot on conversions because you only get paid on conversions, right? People don't care if you have 1,500 friends on Facebook, you can't sell their house. So we focus a lot on conversions. So you can't just throw money at something and all of a sudden assume that it's going to come back to you, right? And as you can see, that we still have to do the basics, right? We still have to do the basics. Real estate is a local business. And so we can move ahead here, Brian. What we want to make sure in today's call is why we're showing you this is if you ever wondered how people show up at the top of the first page of Google, right? Well, today's class is a big part of that, right? You want to show up there. You don't want Zillow or Trulia to be the first ones that show up when somebody searches for real estate in your local market. You want to show up because people don't search by your name. This would be a very easy job if somebody just typed your name in to Google every time they wanted to buy or sell a home. But they don't. They search for what they want and where they want it. So you need to show up for what you do and where you do it. And so if 92% of people are starting online and 75% are going to start on Google, you think it might be helpful in your real estate career if you showed up on the first page of Google, right? Because Google's going to give priority to their own stuff. And that's why today's class is so important. I also want you to think differently. And what I mean by that is it's not enough just to be here today. Okay, as I said, that puts you far ahead of the curve. But it's what you do afterwards that makes the difference. You have to think, what is the one next thing that I do? What do I have to implement, right, so that this becomes valuable? Because you have a lot to do. You're busy people. If you put a dollar amount on the value of your time, what you're worth on an hourly basis, okay, think about what you're spending here today in this hour of today's webinar, right? To make this valuable, you have to take the next step to implement it, right? I'll use an analogy of a quote from Jimmy Buffett, and he said, there's no difference between him and everybody else drinking tequila and telling stories at the bar, except the next morning he gets up and turns those stories into songs. So it's what you do next that makes the difference. It's what you do to implement this stuff that will make the difference. So thinking differently. We're going to move ahead here pretty quickly as we want to get into the nuts and bolts of implementing your Google Plus profile. But as I said, in order to get value out of that, to get conversions, there are some non-technology things that you need to think about. So first of all, what is this class all about? What's today's webinar all about? I know it sounds corny, but it's about the American dream. We help people buy and sell the American dream every single day, right? Whether it's first-time home buyers, whether it's the baby boomers, empty nesters, soldiers coming home from war, we help make that happen, right? Why that's important is because this class is about you. Social media, Google+, LinkedIn, Facebook, all these tools are free public relations platforms for you to share these stories. And if you're not sharing these stories, it becomes point, click, submit, buy a house. And we know that's not what it is, okay? It's not help me find a house anymore, or what's my house worth, or tell me how the market is, okay? It's proof to me that I can trust you, right? If they're going online, what are they doing? They're looking to find out more about you. Before you ever show up on that listing presentation, before you ever show up at Starbucks to go meet your prospective buyers to go show them property, they've already been searching on their smartphones for your Facebook profile, your Google Plus profile, your LinkedIn. They're searching for you. What are they going to find, right? Because if all you are is Burke Smith real estate agent, you're going to have a hard time converting people. You can't be all things to all people. So what's your brand, right? Because when you become an agent, your name is no longer just your name. Your name is a brand, and it's a brand that the client is going to interact with most. Many of you on today's call work for incredible brands, brokerages that have established an image, an icon, a slogan, a look and feel, okay? What does your brand stand for? You see, we talk about these brand names, these that you see up on the screen here. They make sure that you don't go out there and buy things by accident. Something comes to mind when you see them, you hear their names. So what comes to mind when people hear your name, right? So a very simple exercise before you do anything on social media is to write down 3 to 5 things that you think your brand stands for in the marketplace, right? And don't just say loyalty, integrity, and experience, right? What's your niche? What do you do better than anybody else? Who do you convert better than anybody else? Because when you get on Google+, you start sitting there wondering, what do I talk about, okay? It goes back to what you're passionate about. What is your niche? And the more passionate you are about something, the more effective you're going to be in converting people. So identify your niche, right? Maybe you're best with short sales, foreclosures, investors, relocation, baby boomers, Gen X, first-time home buyers. Maybe it's a particular geographical niche. But what is that niche? And identifying your niche, this is the difference between what I call passive referrals and aggressive referrals, right? When passive referrals are, hey, if you're thinking about buying a house, call my my friend Burke, he's a real estate agent. Oh, really? Thanks. I've got 10 friends on Facebook, 20 friends in my circles on Google+. I've got 3 aunts, 4 cousins, all real estate agents, but thanks for the referral, okay? An aggressive referral is no. If you're thinking about relocating to this market, you need to call my friend Burke. He's the #1 resource for relocating to San Diego, all right? Those are aggressive referrals. Why do they know that? Because you own that niche. So think about, what is your niche? What are you going to be passionate about talking about when you set up your Google+ profile? I always include this very basic rule in all of our webinars, and it's called the 40-40-20 rule. And what this says is that all of your marketing and advertising, if you're going to convert somebody, is summed up in this rule. And it says that 40% of your success in converting somebody or winning more listings is based on knowing your audience. So think about when you're posting on your Google+ profiles and Facebook, who am I talking to? We see up here on your screen 2 very different audiences, baby boomers and Generation Y, millennials. Okay? We all know that the millennials are going to be the biggest part of revenue source for us in our industry going forward. But I'm sure we can all admit that these 2 groups communicate very differently. So how are we going to try to communicate with them all the same way, right? So it's very difficult to reach them the same way, the same message. So knowing your audience and knowing who you're talking to and identifying that is 40% of your success in converting somebody. The other 40% is in the value of your message. How valuable is what you're putting out there, okay? Stop telling me that rates are low and it's still a good time to buy. I don't need that from you. You're the local real estate expert, right? It's a hyper-local real estate expert. Do I really need you to tell me that rates are still historically low and now is a good time to buy? Okay, I want your insight. I want value from you. Okay, you know why one side of the street is worth more than the other side of the street. Show that value. You want to go out and start winning listings today? Apply this immediately, right? When I started, agents in my area were farming and advertising. If you're thinking about selling your home, contact me for a free home evaluation, and I will tell you how much your home is worth. Okay, I'm sure if I could see everybody raising their hands, many of you have seen that type of advertising, right? And I know listings are a big deal, right? How many people on today's call would like to win more listings? Well, think about the value of that message. Instead of advertising, if you're thinking about selling your home, call me for a free home evaluation. I'll tell you how much your home is worth. We started advertising. If you're thinking about selling your home, anybody can tell you how much your home is worth. Contact us to find out how to make your home worth more. Okay? Anybody can tell you how much your home is worth. If you're thinking about selling your home, anyone can tell you how much your home is worth. Contact us. We'll show you how to make your home worth more. Find out about our staging, our marketing, our global advertising. All these things are calls to action to drive them online, where they'll find the answers to those questions, how to make their home worth more. That will start winning you listings immediately. You go out there and advertise that today. That's 80% of your success in converting, folks. The 20% is the look, right? We still have to look good, but we need to be more concerned about who we're talking to and the value of our message. And so why we talk about this and setting up as we move ahead is that once we get into the actual nuts and bolts of utilizing our Google Plus profiles, is how do we convert those people that are coming there, right? Because whether we meet them outside of church or at an open house or online, if we're not converting them either into a buyer or a seller or an aggressive referrer, right, then it was a waste of time. Okay, so let's move ahead. Here is I'm going to bring in Brian Geig, and he'll also tell you a little bit about himself. We're very fortunate to have him at HSA Home Warranty. So if you're ever wondering why the HSA reps have such incredible social media presence, Brian is responsible in a big way for that. But also, he's been able to work with many agents across the country through this program, this added value program that HSA offers. So he's a huge resource for the agent community as well. And Brian is going to walk you through now utilizing Google Plus for winning listings and converting buyers.
Right. Thank you very much, Burke. So like Burke said, I do a lot of work with social media marketing specifically, everything for our reps. I help them get messages out there, set up their pages, things like that. So that's just a quick little background about me. But today I want to talk about Google+. So Google+ is really just all around the best platform if you're trying to get better search results. Without a doubt, this is a network you need to be on. You need to have your business listed on. You should probably have yourself listed on here too. Compared to every other social network, they don't even come close as far as helping your business get found as much as Google Plus does. So what Google Plus really is, it came along a little later than all the other social networks. It's very similar to Facebook in many aspects, but what it was really designed to do was give a social, basically, layer to all of Google's services. So it wanted to be integrated with search, Gmail, YouTube, even your calendar. That was the whole idea behind Google+. And basically what they did was take the best parts of all the big social networks. So they took pieces of Facebook that they liked, pieces of Twitter that they liked, and kind of combined it all into one social network that they could spread over all of the services that Google offers. So I kind of know what you're thinking at this point. Why do I need to be on another social network? And what it is for Google Plus is it's just to get found. If you're not listed on Google Plus right now, it's going to be really hard for people to find you. And I've tried. If you're doing local searches, real estate agents actually aren't that easy to find. Google Plus is going to give you that search result, and it's actually going to put you right towards the top, and we're going to go into that a little bit more here. So what do we know about today's home buyers? We know that 90% of the consumers are going to search online when they're looking for a home, and 33% of those people that are searching on Google for information about real estate are actually searching for a local agent or broker to represent them. So that's a lot of people looking for homes. It's a lot of people looking for local real estate agents, and they're having a hard time actually finding them. So just a quick little information. This was from a study that NAR did in association with Google. And just the key takeaways here are basically that, people aren't searching for your business. They're not searching for your name as much. What they're searching for is what they want and where they want it. So they're searching for Houston homes for sale. They're searching for a real estate agent in Houston if they're trying to find a real estate agent there. People aren't looking for your name, so you need to make sure that you show up for what they're searching for. So what do the top position pages in Google all have in common? This is probably going to be a little bit surprising for most people. The top 5 factors, this is from a study done just this last year, the number of Google Pluses a website has. So when we show you how to set up this Google Plus page, basically what a Google Plus one is, it's equivalent to a Facebook like. That's probably the easiest way to think about it. Instead of when people post or when you like a page on Google Plus, what you actually do is +1 it. There's little +1 buttons everywhere. It's the same thing as liking a page on Facebook. But that action is the highest correlation for search ranking for those top results on Google. And the other ones you're probably going to be pretty surprised with too. So Facebook shares was the number 2. Backlinks, so that's links off your website that go back to it. That's a pretty common one. Facebook total is just a composite of likes, comments, and shares from Facebook. And then Facebook comments. Those are the top 5 factors correlated with a high Google search result ranking. So to show those in a chart here, what you can see, if you look at the top of this chart, those are the highest ranking factors, and all the ones in orange, those are what are known as social signals. What that basically is information that Google is collecting from these other social networks about your website. So, if you set up a Pinterest page, a Twitter account, Facebook page, Google Plus page, you enter your website on all of these, and that actually is linked through Google to your website. So it knows if you're getting a lot of action on all of these social networks and you're interacting with people and people are interacting with you, it sends these signals to Google that, hey, this page, this real estate agent's page, needs to be towards the top of the results because people are interacting with it. It's got a lot of good information it's putting out there. So you can see here, the number 1 result was your Google Plus ones. So something that agents might be more familiar with, your domain name, so the name of your website. Where would you think that would rank on this chart here? Unfortunately, it doesn't even make the top of the chart. It is on here as a correlation factor, but it's way down there towards the bottom. So what that really means is, the number of Google Plus ones your website has is more highly correlated with its search rankings than even the name of your website. So that's pretty huge right there, just in and of itself. So for some examples of these Google Plus pages and how they appear in search results, let's say I'm looking for homes for sale in Indianapolis. If I did a Google search for that, this is what the results would show up. And as you can see here, these top 3 results are Trulia, Zillow, and Realtor.com. So they spend a lot of money to get to the top of these results, so it's pretty hard to compete with that, just budget-wise. But if you look right below it, this is just the normal search results. What you're going to see down there are these companies that are listed, and you see they have an address listed next to them. These are all Google Plus local pages. That's what we're going to be showing you how to set up today. So basically what you're going to be doing is setting up a page, and you're going to have to verify the address. And what it does is puts that address, that link that you put with your page, towards the top of these search results when people are searching for, let's say, homes or a real estate agent in a certain area, like in this case Indianapolis. So let's try a real estate agent in my hometown, Madison, Wisconsin. You're going to see these top results right up here. These are actually just actual ads. So people always just kind of skip by actual ads. You can actually get into that if you want through your Google Plus page. It gives you the option to do Google ads just like these, but we're not going to go into that very much today. But you see right below those ads here, there's one listing, one result for an actual real estate business. Then once again, it goes and shows you all of these Google Plus pages. They show up right at the top of the results. So what is Google Plus Local? Basically, it's a way of getting your business listed at that first page at the top of search results. A good way to think of it is kind of as today's yellow pages. Just as you had to be listed in the yellow pages a long time ago, now you really need to make sure that you're listed on Google Plus Local. So a long time ago, maybe not that long ago, but there was Google Places. Many of you probably set up your businesses on Google Places. That's now changed over to what is Google Plus Local. So any pages that you had before, they've been migrated over to this new format, which is the Google Plus Local format. So when we're going into setting up a page, you may run into this. You may find your business already listed, and we'll show you how to deal with that and claim it as a Google Plus Local page. Otherwise, we'll show you through all the steps to setting up a brand new business on Google Plus Local. So also, as a part of these pages, what they do is give you a huge, basically, ad in the search results themselves when somebody searches for your business and you have a page set up for it. So when somebody searches for your business, the area to the right side of the search, which is usually either blank or full of ads, they actually dedicate that whole area to just information about you and your Google Plus page. So it can show relevant posts, photos from your page, videos from your page, a link to your website, directions. So in this search, I searched for Cantana Real Estate. They were a company I found that was doing just a wonderful job on Google Plus and marketing on Google Plus. And you can see these are the actual search results right here. And if you look at that right side, that whole area is dedicated just to their Google Plus Local page. And from here, what you can do is basically it gives you prime real estate in the search results, which is huge. People are going to notice your page. They're much more likely to click on it. It's also going to include relevant contact information for you and your business. It'll have your address listed there. It'll give people the option to just click on that directions button, and then it'll go right to Google Maps, show them how to get from where they are to your office. It's going to show reviews. We'll show you how to turn off reviews later. You can have them on your page or not. It's also going to show recent posts. So if you see at the bottom there, it's going to show recent posts made by your page. So that could be a new listing. So people could be looking at a new listing you just put out there before they've even clicked on your website. This is in the search results still. They haven't actually clicked anywhere. This is just what they see when they search. So getting started here. So now I'm going to go offline and actually show you how to set up one of these pages. So the first step to do here is I'm going to need to log out of anything that I'm logged into. And now there's a good chance most of you already have a Google Plus profile. You can create a page right from there. If not, you can go to www.google.com or google.plus. Google.com/plus. That's what I was looking for. And what's going to ask you to do is to either sign in. There's a good chance you could already be signed in. If you have an account, for YouTube, for Picasa, any Google product, Gmail, it's generally going to log you in and just have you already logged in here. If not, you can click on Add an Account. And if you don't have any accounts here, right at the bottom, you can click on Create a New Account. It's only going to take you a few minutes. You just have to verify your email. It's very simple. But then once you do that, you can log in. And this is just a quick example of Google Plus on a personal side. We're going to be working more at the business side today. But when you post updates, it's just like Facebook. You'll see updates from all of the pages you follow, the people you follow. So it's a very similar format. You can see they put a lot bigger emphasis on videos, pictures, things like that. We're not going to go into a lot of the personal side and what it looks like today. It's more about getting your page set up and getting it verified so you can show up in those search results. So from the top left-hand corner of your Google Plus profile, you have this home option. Once you go up here, you can drop down to the pages. And now if you don't know if you already have a page, this is one place you might find out. If you had that page set up under, let's say, your email, if you had a Gmail back when you had a Google Place, your page might show up here. If not, you can just go to this blue Create a Page button. And what's going to give you is 5 options here. A lot of people want to go with company, institution, or organization, or product and brand, because when Burke was talking earlier, we did mention you and your name, you are a brand. You're your own business. But what we want to do here, we're actually setting up not only a Google Plus page, but this is also going to create a listing on the Google businesses, so the Google Plus local. You're going to be creating a listing for that too, that is your business. So we want to make sure that we have a local business or place selected. And the first thing it's going to make us do is search for our business. This is where you're probably going to see if you have a business already listed. So for example, I'm just going to do luxury real estate. And it's actually going to search the entire world for that. What I want to do is, so let's say one of these results that shows up, they should be listed here like this. Let's say you do find one for your business. What you need to do is then just click on that result, and it's going to give you this option. So if someone else has already verified this listing, I can request that they add me to the page. So you're either going to get this, or let's try to get the other one that it has. I'll try something else. This is the other option that you might see. If nobody else has claimed that page, and let's say it's just kind of sitting out there, if nobody else has claimed that business yet, you'll have the option to claim it, and you can either verify that you are the manager of this business through the phone, or they'll send you a text message basically with a verification code you can enter here, or you can verify by postcard. One thing I'm going to mention, if you're doing it over the phone, make sure that the number listed right here, this is a business phone number, you can't change that. So that's where it's going to send that message to, because that's the number that is listed for this business online. So you can't change that yet. After you take control of the page, then you can change it. But otherwise, you'll have to verify by postcard, which may take 1 to 2 weeks. So that's if you do find your business when you search on here. Let's say you don't find your business. So if none of the business is listed when you search for basically your business name, the company you work for, your name, if nothing shows up, what you can do is go to the bottom down here and go, no, these are not my businesses. Let me create a business page. So now this is where you actually enter the name of your business. So think back to what Burke said about the branding. You want to talk about what you specialize in, what's your niche, where do you do it. So for this example, I'm just going to use Burke Smith Luxury Homes, Madison, Wisconsin. So that's what I want the name of my business to be. So when people search, that's what's going to show up. Because people are searching for what they want and where they want it. So then you just need to enter your business information here. And it should show you on the map where this is going to end up. And you want to make sure that that's correct. Enter your business phone. And now for the category, most often what you're going to have to do is choose from some of their pre-set categories. You can do real estate agency, so if you're making a page for your office, you probably want to go with real estate agency. Otherwise, for most people, generally you're going to have to choose real estate consultant. You can choose from the other ones if you're more of a developer, if you're more of a real estate attorney, appraiser, any of those, but for just your general real estate agent who's out there, you're going to want to choose real estate consultant as your category. Now this next step is also very important. It's going to help determine where you show up when people are searching. So it's basically asking, do I deliver goods and services to my customers at their location? So, you're out there all the time. You're visiting open houses. You're showing people homes. You're out there, traveling through your community a lot. You don't do all of your work at your office. So you want to make sure you check this box. And what's going to ask you to do is either enter the zip codes for the areas that you do business in, or you can basically choose within a radius of your business address, how far do you work within that radius. I recommend you put these zip codes in, and basically any of these zip codes that you put in are places that your business can show up in those local searches. So it's pretty important that you get in all of the ones that you do business in. I'm just going to add 2 for an example here. Basically, you want to go through and make sure you list all of the zips of the neighborhoods that you work. And we can click on Submit. And now it's going to ask us to verify by postcard here because it's a new business. We haven't even put our number in yet. So it'll actually take about 1 to 2 weeks for you to get that zip, or actually that, basically it's a little PIN code you'll have to come back in here and put in. So we can just click on Verify by Postcard. And what Google will actually do is send you a postcard in the mail to that address you listed as your business address. And that way they'll be able to verify that this is a legitimate business run by you.
And this is a big, big deal. When we talked about earlier the one next step, this is the one next step that often gets overlooked. And so you can't be found or published without this, okay? And if you don't go into the office or check in for a while, it will expire and you'll have to redo it. And I know, Brian, since you're on this, and in some cases, if you already have an account, there were some questions about people who wanted to modify an existing Google Places account. In some instances, depending on what you modify, you may have to re-verify. But I don't know if you want to add anything to that question as well, as some folks were asking about modifying existing Google Places profiles.
Yep, so that basically goes back to when I was talking about, either claiming it or if you already have one set up, you can go back into it. It'll be in this new Google Plus Local setup, and we're going to go through when we set up this page how you can basically change your information, add some pictures to the page and the search results. So we'll cover all of that stuff in just a few minutes here. But yeah, if you just want to change, your existing page, you can do that. But also be aware that it may take up to 1 to 2 weeks also to show up online, because if you change any information on these businesses, Google does try to verify it to make sure that you're not just making random changes. So it will try to verify that information, so it might take a little bit of time to show up. And also you need to make sure that your page is verified before any changes will show up. So the verification, like Burke said, it's the biggest step in doing all of this. It's really going to take your page basically from the bottom of the results to the top once it gets verified. So I'm not actually going to send this post.
Also, and one other thing here too, for some of the agents who want to set this up, you may be utilizing the same physical address, and so it's important, as Brian said, in claiming it, that you don't claim someone else's. There can be multiple businesses at the same address. You'll have different contact info, different phone numbers. You wouldn't want to have the same address and then use the main receptionist number, for example, and you'd all have the same number. So you need to personalize it to some degree. It understands that there can be businesses, and in this case, multiple agents at the same physical address, but different contact info.
Right. Good point there, Burke. Thank you. So what I'm going to do here is just continue to the Google Plus page, which is also going to be the Google Plus local listing. They're basically combined now. Usually does not take this long. It might be because we're running a webinar on here too that it's going a little slow. I'm just going to try to get in there and get to this page a different way and see if it'll let me do that real quick. Here we go. This one went through. Okay, so this will be the next screen you get to after you request that postcard verification. Just congratulating you on setting up a page. And I'll just click on Get Started here. So I'm just going to run you through quickly, since I want to go over some other important factors on here, what this is and how you can use this. This is your dashboard. So you see in the upper left-hand corner here, we have the dashboard selected. Anytime you see this drop down when you're on Google+, you can usually go right to your dashboard here, and this is the view you'll have. It's a pretty important area of your Google Plus page. What it lets you do is you can see right at the top here, it's going to let you know what you're missing on your page and what you need to fill in. So right now, I need to verify my address. I know that. I need to add a description. I need to add my hours of operation. You can see at the bottom here, you have a little progress bar to let you know how much information you have left to fill in. So it's pretty handy. You can also just make your post from here. So basically, it works very similar to Facebook. You can, upload a photo. You can also add a link. You can upload a video. Pretty much the same idea. You just post it from here. Click share. Usually, you want to share it to the public. Also, what you can do is if you do G-chats, so when you can have fans come on and just kind of start a hangout. If you've heard of Google Hangouts before, you can start one from right here. This is also an important page, though, because when you do get that pin in the mail, you need to come back here. So make sure that you go from home to dashboard, and it should take you to the dashboard of your page. And then if you're trying to verify your business, so when that pin comes back in the mail, this is where you'll be able to enter it again. So right now we have our page set up. What we want to do is finish getting this set up. So right now, we just have pretty much a blank page here. And when Burke and I have traveled around and done these presentations all over the U.S., and the one thing I see all the time is when I try to get local search results to use in our presentations for Google Plus pages, this is the main thing I always see. It's this generic page with no profile picture, no cover photo, and pretty much no information on here. So the first thing you want to do that's really going to help your page stand out is just as simple as uploading a cover photo. So if you click on that little green circle right there, you can select a photo to upload from your computer. Let's see. Yep, I'm just going to use our logo, our HSA logo. And you can just crop it really quickly here and do set as profile photo. So you can either use a picture of yourself, a picture of your team, your company logo. It just kind of depends what you're making this specific listing and page for. And so now we have this logo here. Now the next thing to do that's also going to help your page stand out a lot, and it's also going to help, this is what will show up when people search and you see those results on the side that talk about your page. they're going to be able to see this cover photo right here and the profile picture that you uploaded. So it's a good idea to change your cover photo. Generally, what you're going to want to pick for this is something that, kind of represents your market. You can choose from some of these default ones here. But if, let's say, I'm using Madison as an example here. Madison's known for its capital, the capital downtown. So I'm going to pick a great high-quality picture of our downtown capital area to use. You definitely want something that's going to kind of represent your business, the area that you do business in. So if you have anything that's kind of really well known in your area or in your markets, you're probably going to want to use a picture of that, or just some of the neighborhoods, maybe your team, your building. Any of those things will work great for a cover photo. Just make sure that it's a pretty high quality cover photo, because it's a pretty big picture that shows up here. So now that we have that set, this is going to make our page stand out a lot. If you see right below here, we can edit the business information. So if you ever need to make changes, you should always have that option when you're on your page. And you're going to see how you show up on the map listing right here. Double check that to make sure it's accurate. You're going to have your contact phone number. You can come back and change your category, but you probably shouldn't be switching that up a lot because Google does track that. You'll need to definitely add your hours of operation. So you can do weekdays. So you can do 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. But as we all know, if real estate agents work 24/7, unfortunately, that's not an option here. But you can just add your hours that you're maybe in the office. So make sure you get your hours updated here. That's correct. So another important thing to do that a lot of people don't do, map and search photos. So when people do search for you, you can actually basically choose what photos will show up and what photos show up when they see you on a map. So if they're on Google Maps and they're looking around, or if they're getting directions to your place, they can actually browse through your photos. So generally what I do for these is to choose ones that are, your office is a good one to put up there, because once again, this is on Google Maps and Google Search. So people will know how to find your office, what it looks like when they get there. And, a shot of maybe your team, a shot of you, a shot of some homes in your area, or maybe, some neighborhood signs of the markets that you work in. Things like that are a good idea to upload just to your search and map results here. And it's really simple to do. You select the photos from your computer, give it a second to upload them here, and you'll just have to click on Save once that's done, which is going a little slow. I think the webinar is slowing her down a little bit, but so those map and search photos are another great thing you need to do. Also, your introduction, I just made one up here real quick. Basically, you just want to talk quickly about what your business is, your background, your focus, your niche, your specialties. And also, an important thing to do on these is always add a link to your website. Somewhere in there, maybe your contact info too. But once you save this, you'll see that that link will actually become active. So people can actually, even just from search results, again, it's just another link back to your website, which is where you really convert people. So, once again, the goal of all these getting found, getting people on your Google Plus page, is always to drive them back to your website for you to finish converting them. Now on here, I can click on Done Editing. And for this part, there's not much to do until you verify your page. You see I have these links right here, this area. I'm not going to be able to fill that out yet because this page hasn't been verified. But what I wanted to show you is the next step after you do verify your page. So let's just say I get that postcard in the mail. I'm going to go to www.plus.google.com, and it'll most likely log you in here. I'm going to go to Home in the upper left-hand corner, go down to My Pages, select the page I want to manage. I'm going to go with Berg Smith Luxury Homes. That's what I've been using for an example so far. And then right at the top here, I have the option to verify my business. All I have to do then, once I get that PIN, is click here, enter it, and it'll probably take a couple days for your business to actually start showing up in those results, but then it will be verified. And I can show you an example of how you know when your local page has been verified here in just a second. So if you notice on this page, this little check mark right underneath your profile picture, that means you're a verified local business, and that's when you should start showing up in those local results. So you can also make sure that your website's verified, but you can only do that after you've had your page verified. So let me show you how to make sure you have your website even just linked on there, and you can also then set up links to your other social networks and get a Google Plus custom URL. It's not as hard as it sounds, but I do need to switch over to our HSA page because that is a verified page. And these steps you can only take after your page has been verified. So once again, I'm just on the dashboard for my HSA home warranty page. I'm going to go to the edit page option. And now you see I have all these tabs here. Under the About tab, I should have an option for links, and once again, you won't see this until your page has been verified. But you can go in here and edit these links, and the very first option you have here is to claim a Google Plus URL. So the first thing you need, the first requirement for this is to have your page verified. The second thing it's going to do is basically it usually chooses this for you based on the name of your page and any other background information you've put in. It'll usually suggest a Google Plus domain name for you. But once you set that, you can change it the first time. But once it's set, it's permanent, and you're not able to change that ever again. So make sure you have something that you like in there. And this is just a great way to direct clients to your Google Plus page. So if you're trying to get those plus ones to get even higher in search rankings, make sure you have this easy Google URL. Otherwise, if you can see this at the top of my page here, your URL will look something like this. It'll be plus.google.com/ a whole bunch of numbers that are just messy, and it's not something you're going to want to be able to give to people or refer them to. So it's much easier to say, oh yeah, go to plus.google.com plus HSA home warranty, and be sure to +1 my page. So the other thing you can do in this link section is put in a link to your website. That's huge. You really need to come back here and do this after your page gets verified, because otherwise it can't link those +1s to your website. You need to have your website in there just in order for it to create that connection. That's how it knows and gets those social signals sent from basically what's happening on Google Plus to the search results when people are searching on Google. So you need to make sure you have your website put in there. That's big, big, big. Can't stress that enough. And also, if you have links to your other social networks, you can add them in down here. Or if you want to, you can add in some custom links. So if I wanted people to see maybe my featured listings, contact me. You can add links to any other part of your website or other people's websites, really. It's just a link to anywhere. But yeah, so featured listings is a good one. Contact me is another good one. Just always make it easier for people to find you and get a hold of you. So once you've entered this information in here, you can hit save. I'm just going to hit cancel. I don't want to change anything in here yet. And another big thing, so when you set up these pages, since they're Google Plus local pages, what they allow is the opportunity for people to review your business. Now, reviews are a good thing. I think they're a very good thing. And within, the search results, when you have those local ones, for example, let me pull those up again. So in the results right down here that are the Google Plus pages, if you want to get your site listed above the other people in this area, so after today's webinar, there's probably going to be a lot more of these popping up in the next few weeks. The way to do that is to get people to +1 your page and to get people to write reviews for your page. So Google also ranks these based on the number of reviews and the number of +1s they have. So the more reviews and +1s you have, the higher you're going to rank within that local search area, which is always towards the top of the page on the first page of those search results. So reviews are important, but I also know that sometimes there are bad reviews. You can set whether people can see the reviews on your page or not. I'm just going to go over that really quickly here while we have a few minutes. But people can always still review your page. You can just choose the option of if other people can see all the reviews or not. So what we need to do here is go to our Google settings. It's going to be in the top right-hand corner of the page. You have this page settings option. I'm going to click on that right there. And now down towards the bottom, what you can actually do on your profile is choose all of those tabs that appear. Photos, YouTube videos, if you link it to your YouTube channel. reviews. You definitely want to make sure help others discover my profile and search results is checked. But this is where you can manage whether you want people to be able to review your Google Plus page or not. So you can change that in here. You can also delete your page. Any of those things, a bunch of other options that I'm not going to go over at this point since we're getting very close to the end of the webinar. I'm just going to see now that pretty much covers the setup of the page, getting it verified, how it shows up in the search results, adding those links in your website once you actually get your page verified. That's always an important step to take. And I just, had enough time to barely touch on the reviews. So basically, to wrap up today's webinar, we live in a social world where now and for the foreseeable future, the consumer is really in control. They are more informed than ever, and they have a choice of who they work with. That's a recent quote from the CEO of Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. And I think it's just really, really true, especially nowadays. They're going to do a bunch of searches, and if they find you, you have to make sure that you stand out, because a lot of those search results are really bland looking, especially with the Google Plus listings that I've seen there now. Not a lot of people take these extra steps to add the photos, to make sure that your page is verified. These are all really important things, and it's a great way to get to the top of these listings and get in front of those consumers right when it's most important, right when they're searching for a home or searching for a real estate agent in your market. So also, to wrap it up, we have social media resources on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/HSA Home Warranty. So like Burke mentioned earlier, we have all of our past webinars on there. We'll post this webinar on there. It's a great place. We also have articles on there. So if you're trying to set up these other social networks too, I know there's a lot out there. We've kind of combined all of our resources right to this area. So facebook.com/HSA Home Warranty, and look for that social media resources tab on the top.
And I do recommend, if you guys need to prioritize, you're saying, well, I just got through, Facebook or LinkedIn, and now you're talking about Google Plus. But you saw the benefits, today that you would want to focus your time here if you're only going to focus one place, because you can't do all of it all at once. You'll probably get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of search engine optimization and conversions, and future value for business in what you saw in today's webinar. Doesn't mean that, if you're already on some of those other platforms, you want to take a look at the past webinars we've done in those tutorials, because as we said, there's lots of ways to win listings and convert buyers using these tools, but if you're not doing it right, there's also lots of ways to lose listings and lose buyers. So the other tutorials are set up the same way as this, focused on practical implementation and execution so that we can win listings and convert buyers with it. The video walkthroughs you see at youtube.com/HSA Warranty. I tried to answer many of your questions directly while Brian was going through the tutorial. Because we did want to keep it to an hour, I will see if Brian has a few minutes, if there's any questions there that have not been answered that he wanted to touch on. But also as a reminder, for those of you who may have missed it in the beginning, all of you will get a copy of a link to the replay of this presentation. Some of you had asked about the replay and where to get it. You'll get a copy of it. And anything that questions or comments or wanting to get information, really just talk to your HSA Home Warranty rep, and they'll make sure you know how to get that.
Yep, and also we have video walkthroughs for a lot of these steps on our YouTube channel. Basically, so if you don't want to go back and watch the whole webinar to find a certain area, maybe you just want to go and learn how to verify your page once you get that pin. We have videos just for each one of those steps kind of cut out from different parts. So if you just need quick guides to little things on setting up your Google Plus page, check out our YouTube channel. And Burke?
And yeah, just in wrapping up, just a reminder, look, if everybody is tweeting and Facebooking and blogging and texting and pinging and posting and emailing, then nobody is door knocking and farming and calling and talking and writing and mailing and living. It's a combination offline, online. That's why you saw the presentation done this way, is you can't forget to do the basics. You want to have calls to action with what you're doing offline. to drive them online. You're not going to automatically generate traffic by just setting up your profile, right? So there needs to be a connection between your other forms of marketing and advertising and calls to action to connect all of it together. You'll see here our contact info. If you have a question or comment that you either forgot to ask or think of later on, you can reach out to myself at burke.smith@onlinehsa.com or Brian Geik at brian.geik@onlinehsa.com. Please don't email us or reach out to us saying, hey, what was that Google Plus thing you were talking about? We're happy to help you, but come to us with, I'm setting up my page, I've set up my profile, or is this a good name? Is this what I should use? Come to us so that we can give you answers to the execution and implementation of this stuff instead of starting from scratch. With that said, Brian, I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to add or any questions that you wanted to.
I'm just going to stay on for a few more minutes. Let me look over the questions that were submitted, and I'll just see if there's any that.
Yeah, and if any of you are on right now that have not submitted a question and would like to, Brian and I will stay on. Brian is still online, obviously, and if there's something has time to show an example of, he can. So if there's something that you wanted to ask and didn't get to, now would be the best time to do it. If we did not get to something for some reason that one of you asked, we do get a copy of all the questions, and we can reach out to you directly.
All right, I have one that's asking if you're a national company, how do you use Google Plus local? You can still set up a Google Plus. It's not really a local page. It's just more of a general business page, and it does help. But you can't really use the local feature where you're listed on maps unless you have like offices throughout the country. If you do have offices throughout the country, you can actually go through and set up each one of those offices. They actually have a bulk uploader. So if you're uploading, let's say, something like Avis Rent-A-Car, if they wanted to do this, they could use Google Plus local, but it would all, be linked under one national profile, but they would have businesses, all over the U.S. So you can do that. It's a lot more complicated of a process to get everything set up and nested under one thing. If you want, that can email me personally if you want to find out a little bit more about that. But that's if you're a national company. Let's see what else we have here.
Somebody did ask about should they have more than one Google Places profile if they're farming different areas. And
I don't think so. I would say no, mostly because when you enter those zip codes, that's going to actually pretty much set where your business will show up in those areas. So I would
say there's a couple of areas, because this is a national webinar. I just would like to remind you, you always want to remain in compliance as well. So you want to know what the kind of your local rules are, because in some areas, the address you use has to be the address where you hang your license. So in that case, having multiple addresses wouldn't work, because it wouldn't be in compliance. But in a lot of other areas that we go to, it doesn't matter. It's from a practical, and Brian can also give some more comments on this. We've done other webinars on, for example, utilizing YouTube.